Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone! You're about to watch part 4 of the robotic Santa sleigh lesson from RoboCamp team. This means that we have already covered the context of this project, we have created the robot and checked all the mechanisms that are hiding inside. Now we're about to code this robot. That means to create a program in Scratch, as you can see, which will allow us to remotely control this really cool robot, okay? So, if you want to complete this stage with me, you will obviously need this Santa sleigh robot. Now, if you don't have it yet, go back to part 2 of this lesson where we have all the instructions on how to complete it. Now, you will also need 6 charged batteries to make the EV3 brick work. So make sure you put them in the brick before we test this program. Now, another thing you will need is Scratch 3. As you can see, mine is already open right here, okay? And soon we will add together extension that we need for this program. But don't worry, we'll do it together in a moment. Now, if you are a teacher, hello there, and especially Merry Christmas to you. I'm sure you've worked really hard this year. Remember that all the instructions you see behind me, together with a text explaining everything you need to know, is available to you too. You can use it with your students on site or online. If you want to know more, click the links in the description to learn more about what we do at RoboCamp. And now, guys, if you are ready, let's start coding. In the next couple of minutes, we will create a program that will allow us to remotely control Santa's sleigh by using arrow keys. And since this robot is made from LEGO Education Mindstorms EV3 bricks, this means that we need to add an extension to Scratch. Now, as you can see, I already have it, but here's how you add it. Basically, all you need to do is go right here into the bottom left corner of Scratch, click Add Extension, and find LEGO Mindstorms EV3. Click on it, okay? And in a moment, you will see that the blocks that allow you to control the electronics of this kit have been added. On my screen, you can also see that a pop-up window has appeared urging me to connect my EV3 brick to Scratch. Now, I don't want to do it yet, but there's an important message here. You see, make sure you have Scratch Link installed and running. Now, this is important for those of you who, like me, are working on a laptop or on a PC. Okay, don't worry about it too much. The installation takes 2 minutes tops. The link is in the description of this video. And that's all that needs to be done. Extension and Scratch Link. Once you have that, we can start programming for real this time, okay? Now, I don't want to connect my EV3 brick yet. I don't need to test it right now. So I will close this window and connect it again right before testing. Okay, so for now I will close this pop-up window and you can see that completely new coding blocks have appeared here in the LEGO EV3 category. That's great. We're certainly gonna need them. So if you have seen part 3 of this lesson, you know that this robot uses something that we call relies on differential steering. Now, this means that to go forward, both motors must be activated. To go right, only one of them. To turn left, only one of them too. Now, we're going to use this in programming, but first, let's create the scripts that will inform the program what we want to do. So, what should happen when we press certain key on the keyboard? And we will start with going forward, okay? So we need to find one of those head blocks. A head block is the one that has this really large bump on top, okay? It means that you cannot really add another block above it, okay? So this means that this is a start block, the ones that begins this script. And the first one we're gonna add is when he pressed block. It means that this script and all the blocks below this particular head block will be activated when we press a certain key. Now, this is the script that's responsible for going forward, so it will activate when we press up arrow key. Okay, this is the block that we need to find in the events category. So let's go there and let's move this block to the programming area. I will enlarge my view for now, okay? Now by default we have here a space key selected. That's not the right one. So let's open this drop-down list and select up arrow key pressed. When you are controlling a device or a toy remotely, basically you want it to move as long as you press a button down. That's the same thing we want to achieve with this robot, which is why we need to add a loop, a conditional loop this time, which will make sure that all the instructions, all the commands are executed as long as we are pressing that key down. So to achieve this effect, we need to find repeat until loop from the control category. Let's add it right now, okay? There are many options when it comes to loops in Scratch, but for this one we need repeat until, okay? And you can see that there's an empty slot right next to until. This is where we will place the exit condition of this loop, that is when the loop should stop. So we already know that all the commands inside the loop should be executed as long as we're pressing that up arrow key. But if we were just to put right here a repeat until key up arrow pressed, well, then all the commands would stop being executed when this key is pressed. We want the exact opposite of that, which is why we also need not block, which is an easy way to make the block be the opposite of what we wanted. Okay, so first let's find not block. It's in the operators category. It's right here. And make sure you insert it into this slot of repeat until block. This is the condition slot, okay? And now we need to find key up arrow pressed. And this is the block that can be found in the sensing category. It's right here. And by the way, by the shape of these coding blocks, you can kind of guess where they are supposed to go. So let's insert it inside the not block, not inside the repeat until block, okay? Right here, and of course we need to change the key from space to up arrow. Now this way we have created a condition that will stop the loop when we are no longer pressing the key down. Now let's move on to the commands that should be placed inside this loop. Now remember how our robot is built. We have two large motors on sides responsible for moving this construction around, okay? So in order to move forward, Santa Sleigh requires both of these motors to rotate in the right direction and with the right power, okay? And at the same time. And simultaneously, the medium motor, which is in between them, should be running as well, because it's the one that's propelling the reindeer and the Santa. So all these actions will be used several times in our program. So, okay, one way is to use motor blocks in this loop right away, but it's not the best practice. Actually, it's a better idea to place those motor blocks in separate scripts, activated upon receiving a specific message. So here in this loop, we will create broadcasting blocks. Blocks that broadcast those messages to activate those scripts that we will create later on. So now let's create first message like this one. We will use it with the broadcast message block, okay, and create a new message, okay. We will need 3 of those, each activating one of the motors. Let's start with the medium motor, which is responsible for propelling Santa and the reindeer. So first we need to find this block. It's in the events category. It's right here. Broadcast message 1. Now we need to change this name, because later on when you revisit this program, you may not remember which message is responsible for what. So it's just much easier for later to name those messages with something catchy, like in the case of script activating reindeer and Santa. Let's name it reindeer. Okay. And as I'm sure you already guessed, there are 2 more broadcast blocks to go. One responsible for activating the script that will make the Santa sleigh turn left, and the other for activating the script that will make the sleigh turn right. Okay, so first let's add the turn left script. You can either do it by adding new block from here, okay, and now making new message, or by duplicating the existing broadcast message block. Okay, now we will place turn left. I'm going to name this message turn left, and okay. And once we have that too, it's time to broadcast the third message, this time turn right. Let's add it in our Scratch too. This time I'm going to duplicate this block. To duplicate a block, just right click on it, an option to duplicate will appear, and just paste this block below. Of course, I need to change the name of this message, otherwise the same message will be broadcasted twice. Makes no sense. So turn right. And okay. All right. So the script that makes, well, not yet, we don't have motor blocks, but the one that's responsible for remote control of the Santa going forward is now complete. So now we need to create 2 more scripts very similar to this one making the Santa sleigh turn right, the other making it turn left. Next, we will create the script activated by pressing the left arrow key. So as a result, it should make the sleigh turn left. Now, the new script will be very similar to the script that we have already created. So instead of making it from scratch, we will just duplicate the existing script. However, to avoid having both exactly the same scripts, we need to modify it a bit. First, of course, we need to change the key, okay, in both the start block and the condition. And we also need to remove one of the messages, because in this script, we only need to broadcast message reindeer and turn left. Okay, so now let's try to do the same in Scratch, okay? So first, I will right click on the script I already have to duplicate it, place it below, and now is the time to modify it. Remember, this is the script activated by the left arrow key. And as you remember, we don't need to send as many messages. So I will take turn right block from here and move it back to the block split, thus deleting it from this script. Now we have two scripts, okay? One responsible for making the robot go forward, it's this one, and the other responsible for making it turn left. So, of course, we need one script that is gonna make the robot go right. And once again, it will be very similar to the previous two, but this time, of course, again, we need to make slight changes, okay? So first, it makes no sense to create this script from scratch, so let's duplicate the previous one and place the new script below. Okay, this is the script responsible for making the sleigh turn right and activated by the right arrow key. So let's change it in the start block and in the condition. Now this time we also need to change the broadcasted message. The reindeer should still be there, but it shouldn't the message shouldn't activate the script turning left. We want to turn right in this script, so let's select this message. Okay, here you can see how all of my scripts look like right now. Take a moment to compare them with yours and make sure everything is looking the same. We have already created the scripts that are sending the message, and now we need to create scripts that are activated when they receive this message. And of course, in those we're gonna use motor blocks. Now, first let's start with the reindeer message that is with the medium motor. Because as you remember, the reindeer message activates the medium motor, which propels the reindeer and the Santa. So this script needs to start with when I receive block. We can find it in the events category. And let's move it to the programming area. Now I will place it under all of my scripts right here. And once again, make this view slightly more visible to you, okay? So we start with the medium motor, so let's change this message. When I receive reindeer message, what should happen then? Of course, we should activate the medium motor. And for that, we will need to go to the special Lego EV3 category and find motor set power 2. Okay, let's go there. All right, I have added mine to the script, but you can see that by default, the settings are different than in the instructions. Now, if you have if you built your robot exactly as it was shown in the instructions, you can here just select motor C100% and you're good to go. But it's better to double check. So to check with which motor you're dealing with, take your robot and find the medium motor. It's right here. Now follow this cable and check to which port is it connected. Now in my case, of course, it is the C port, exactly as it should be. Check if yours is too. If it's in a different port, it's better to unplug it and plug it to the C port right now, just so everything is clear. Okay? All right. So we have already decided the power of this motor, but there are still some features that need to be determined. You see, first of all, we need to decide in which direction it should rotate, because motors can rotate in two directions, okay? And for how long. So this time, let's find another motor block. Motor turn this way form, okay? Make sure you select motor this way and not that way. Those two blocks are very similar, but you see that direction, there are two opposite directions, okay? So once again, we need, oh sorry, I didn't change the port here, my mistake, I'm sorry about that. But we all know that my motor is connected to the C port, so I need to change in both of these blocks motor to C. And for just a half a second, it should be activated. Okay. Medium motor done. We have still two more to go. Next, let's create the script activated by the turn left message. Now this one will also activate the motor. So, well, instead of creating it completely anew, we can just duplicate the last script that we have added and modify it slightly. The most important modification, it should respond to turn left message. Okay, so now let's make some space for this script and duplicate the script connected to when I received reindeer message. This one, of course, should respond to turn left message. Of course, we should modify it a bit more. We should certainly change the motor, okay, and also the power of this motor, because you see there is a difference at how fast it should operate. Now, this part is slightly tricky. Again, if you have created your robot exactly as it was shown in the instructions, you can just select port A. However, it's better to double check. You see, we have already covered it in the part 3 of this lesson, okay? But when this robot turns left, okay, it should go, it should go this way, okay? Which means that the left motor should not be working, only the right one, okay? Only then this construction will turn left. So we need to check to which port the right large motor is connected. Okay, so once again, we need to follow the cable, and in my case, it is connected to port A, exactly as it should be. Okay, but if you are not sure, please double check it. Okay, so I will change those motors to A in my script. And of course, I need to decrease the power to 30%. All right, now there is still one motor we need to program. And we will program it in the when I receive turn right script. Okay, once again, it will be quite similar to the previous one. So instead of creating it from scratch, let's just duplicate the last script and add the new one below. This time it's not responding to turn left. This script should respond to turn right message. Let's see what else we need to modify. This time we need to select the motor that is connected to the port D. And it should be true for your robot too, again, if you have created it in accordance with the instructions. If you are not sure, take a moment now to double check. Congratulations everyone, you have created the complete program for the robotic Santa sleigh. In a moment we will test it and see if we can actually control it remotely, but first let's take a moment to analyze all those scripts. Behind me you can see the complete program, okay? The script marked with number 1 is the one that makes the sleigh go forward. Now, it will run as long as you press the up arrow key and do not release it. It activates all 3 motors. The medium one responsible for propelling the reindeer and the Santa, as well as right and left large motors, and this allows the construction to go forward. The scripts here you can see marked with number 2 are the ones that allow you to make the construction go left and right. Okay, they work in a similar way as the first one, except they activate only one large motor to make the robot turn. Scripts marked with number 3 and 4 activate only upon receiving a message. And notice that each of those scripts controls only one motor, okay? Now, please take a moment to compare this program to yours, okay? Adjust it if you need to, and I'll see you in a moment when we start testing this program. Behind me you can see my entire program in Scratch, and now of course I want to test it out with my robot. But before I can do that, I need to connect my EV3 brick to Scratch. And the first step to do this is to activate the EV3 brick itself. If you have charged batteries inside already, all you need to do is press this button and wait a couple of seconds until you see the message that the brick is activated. Now, it usually takes a couple of seconds. We'll know it is connected when we hear this very characteristic sound. Ah, yeah, good, it is activated, that's great. Now I can go back to Scratch and, to be exact, to the Lego EV3 category, where you can see this yellow-orange exclamation mark. This is information from Scratch letting me know that no EV3 brick is connected. So to fix that, I will click on this exclamation mark, and fortunately my device is already on the list here. If you do not see yours, try refreshing, and if that doesn't work, then make sure Bluetooth is enabled, and also that you have Scratch Link app running in the background. Now the next step is to connect the device. And the connection was established. I can go back to the editor and test my program. Of course, we activate it with arrow keys, and first I want to make the Santa go forward. Oh yes, he works. Now let's make him turn right. Okay. Maybe a bit to the left this time. Great. And forward once again. Now is the time for you guys to test your programs with your constructions. Have fun with it. Also, feel free to experiment with the program and the construction too. Now remember that if you need to make any adjustments, check anything, you can always go back to the previous videos or also to this one to check the program. Now, thank you so much guys for participating in this lesson. Let us know if you enjoyed it with a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, if you would like to see anything else, let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much once again and have happy holidays everyone. Have fun. Bye.